Hey everyone, I'm Jamie Proviance, and I'm here today with a steak recipe that is a riff on one of the great combinations, one of my favorite flavor combinations, steak, blue cheese, and tomato. You've probably had this combination yourself, maybe in a steak salad with some tomato and blue cheese. I was just thinking I want to try it in a slightly different way. So what I've come up with is this, is actually to marinate the steaks in some tomato. I've tried doing it, which is fresh tomato. It doesn't really work, I'm here to tell you. But if you use a little bit of tomato paste in the marinade, it's so concentrated that it works much better getting inside and really flavoring the steak. So in this pan, I have a couple tablespoons of tomato paste with some beef broth. So that's just gonna enhance the natural flavor of the beef. And about a cup of red wine, which of course plays very well with steak and tomato and blue cheese. And I've got some onion in here as well. So these steaks have been sitting in here for a couple of hours. You could leave them in for as long as 4 to 6 hours. And they've gotten more flavorful and a little more tender. The acid in the wine helps to break them down a little bit. But before they go on the grill, I need to do a couple things. Number one, dry them off a little bit, because a wet steak doesn't grill very well. It actually steams on the grill, at least for the first few minutes, and that is not so great for developing flavor. And also, these just came out of the fridge, so they're still a little bit cold. So what I recommend that you do is get some paper towel and just pat them dry on both sides, and then oil and season them on both sides. Just a little bit of salt and pepper. If there's a little onion left on there, that's fine. That'll caramelize on the surface of the steak. So just drizzle a little bit of oil. This will help in the browning, and of course it'll add more flavor. Both sides. So my steaks are oiled and seasoned and set aside. Now I'm going to work on the sauce, and this is where I'm going to introduce the blue cheese flavor. And I'm going to make the sauce right here on this side burner. I have already sauteed some shallots in a little bit of butter. This is going to be a fairly rich, decadent sauce. I'm going to begin, or I should say, continue with some sour cream, which has the acidity and the decadent flavor. And then I'm going to add to that, basically melt into that, the blue cheese. So crumbled blue cheese. It's basically equal amounts of blue cheese and sour cream. And blue cheese is not like mozzarella or cheddar or some of the really smooth melting cheeses. So it's not going to be super silky, but it's so delicious that it's worth it. And you don't want to bring this up to a boil. In fact, you just barely want to simmer it, just enough really to melt the cheese. And then you want to just put a cover on it, keep it warm. I think seasoning it with a little bit of pepper is a good idea. Probably not salt, because the blue cheese has quite a bit of salt in it already. And you just want to keep it warm and fluid. So after a couple of minutes, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, the cheese is almost entirely melted. You can still see little clumps in there, but that's fine. Just turn off the heat. Cover the sauce to keep it warm. And then it's time to grill the steaks. So they've rested nicely. They're nicely oiled and seasoned. My grill is set up for direct high heat. It's time to put the meat to the heat. These are about 1 inch thick. They're going to take about 3 minutes per side. As usual, with the lid closed. So 6 minutes later, I'm pulling these off. They're beautifully browned and caramelized, and I'll just show you how it looks on the plate. I think it would be a nice little dinner, maybe with a mixed green salad like this, right on the side. I've got the tomato flavor already into the steak, along with the beef broth and the red wine. Then here's the sauce that I've just been keeping warm. And we're just going to drizzle some of that on the steak. Pretty decadent. And of course, what goes really well with tomato and red wine and steak? A little bit of basil on top. So it's like that classic tomato and blue cheese salad, except it's reimagined. It's the new and improved steak salad.